Go ahead and try and hit me if you're able. Can't you see that my relationship is stable? I can see you hate the way we intermingle, but I think you're just mad cause you're single. And you're not gonna stop what we made together. We are gonna stay like this forever. If you break us apart, we'll just come make you up, and we'll always be twice the gem that you are. I am and it's stronger than you.
When it comes to MCU movies, fans tend to hold certain movies in higher esteem than others. Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, and the Avengers, for instance, are usually praised higher than Thor, Thor the Dark World, and Iron Man 2. But then there's the Incredible Hulk. It's definitely not one of the most beloved entries in the series, but it isn't really seen as lesser than the average MCU movie that often. It's just kind of overlooked. There are a few outside forces that caused that. The lead character, Bruce Banner, was recast from Edward Norton in this movie.
My massive hard-on got 50,000 views.
To Mark Ruffalo in all future films.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
And the CGI Hulk had a completely different visual design after the recast. The movie never got a direct sequel, unlike most of the other movies in the MCU. Hulk himself was one of the less frequently seen heroes in the MCU, and there was only one reference to the events of his movie between its release in 2008 and Captain America Civil War in 2016.
The last time I was in New York, I kind of broke Harlem.
And while I couldn't find footage of it, at San Diego Comic-Con one year, Paul Rudd and Michael Pena gave a recap of the MCU films that had been released up to that point and practically skipped over The Incredible Hulk, with Paul Rudd joking that he hadn't seen it. While I'm not clear on the legal details, it seems that while Disney has the rights to use the Hulk character in their movies, Universal has the rights to distribute Hulk movies, so Disney avoids making the Hulk movies to circumvent this issue and just puts him in guest roles in other characters' movies. But enough about that. Surely there's something in the movie itself that keeps it from being as fondly remembered as the original Iron Man, right? Only one way to find out, so what's the story? Radiologist Dr. Bruce Banner bombards himself with gamma radiation in an effort to recreate the effects of a super soldier serum that I'm sure won't be important later. Instead of making him big and strong, it makes him too big and too strong, as well as green, stupid, and angry. And you wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Não me deixo conforme. Não bang quando eu come. Wait. Oh, that's not right.
Oh, come on, just say the line.
You know what? You don't want to make me angry. You're not gonna like me when I'm angry.
Oh, pervert!
Anyway, after his destructive rampage, Bruce flees to Brazil, practicing meditation and breathing exercises in an effort to keep calm. As if he ever gets angry, scared, or excited, he transforms back into the Hulk. The inciting incident that sets the plot in motion is really, really stupid, so just try to stay with me. Bruce cuts himself at the bottling plant he now works at, and a drop of his gamma-irradiated blood falls into an open bottle, which is then sealed and shipped to America, where Stan Lee drinks it and dies. The US government figures that gamma radiation poisoning probably has something to do with Banner and sends a squad of guys to Brazil to catch him. Wow, I think I get why people overlook this one now. Snark aside, that's when the movie really begins. Banner goes on the run to meet with another scientist he thinks can help cure him of his condition. He gets his ex-girlfriend Betty Ross to help her, but her dad is the one leading the military pursuit of Banner, so it's, to put it in technical terms, kind of this whole thing. One of the soldiers in pursuit of Banner becomes a super soldier himself to stop him. Then he turns into a bigger Hulk and they fight. The elephant in the room is that Edward Norton only played Bruce Banner in this movie before the role was recast to Mark Ruffalo in the future. While the Avengers assuaged everyone's fears that Ruffalo wouldn't do justice to the role, it's easy to forget why people were apprehensive about the recast in the first place. It's because Edward Norton was really good. His Banner is a quiet, timid, skinny, antisocial scientific genius who is plagued by constant guilt and sadness. He's everything the Hulk is not. Unlike Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton doesn't play the Hulk through motion capture technology, so the Green Giant is all CGI here, though his roars and one line, Hulk! Smash! Are both provided by none other than Lou Ferrigno, the original Hulk actor. The CGI on the Hulk was great at the time, but hasn't aged entirely well. His hair looks like it belongs on a Soul Calibur character, the mouth seems a bit stretchy, and his muscles are so defined that it looks like he doesn't have skin, just exposed green muscle. That's not to say it's entirely to the movie's detriment, however. One thing the VFX team absolutely nailed is the Hulk being, well, a hulking being. He looks heavy, and you believe it when he smashes stuff. Compared to the Hulk from the 2003 movie, who looked like a blow-up plastic Hulk toy with painted-on pants. Tim Roth is a seriously talented actor, but any investment you might have in Emil Blonsky goes away when he morphs into a CGI monster with a different voice. His personality shifts from an aging soldier who doesn't know anything but the war to a power-mad psycho who just wants to crush and kill. So a perfect Hulk villain, just not very interesting. William Hurt is an excellent General Ross, not a hugely deep character, pretty much just an army hard case with a Captain Ahab-like blinding obsession. Liv Tyler mostly just stands around and looks sad as Betty Ross. It's kind of a waste of her skill. I wish she got to return like Pepper Potts, Jane Foster, and Peggy Carter did. They could have fleshed out her character more. The last supporting cast member of note is Tim Blake Nelson as Dr. Samuel Stearns. Tim Blake Nelson is a favorite actor of mine because he's great in everything. Why don't more movies advertise that he's in them? Anyway, if Liv Tyler's talents were wasted, Tim Blake Nelson's are both utilized and wasted. Let me explain. See, he plays a scientist who wants Banner to gain control over the Hulk transformation, so we get to see him play a funny scientist who gets more frightening as we learn more about what he's been doing. But when some radioactive blood falls into his head wounds and starts mutating his brain, the movie cuts away and we never see him again. It's an obvious case of sequel begging, but it never goes anywhere, so I guess while the Avengers are all just hanging out, the leader is secretly plotting a terrible evil scheme by himself somewhere. Of all the unresolved plot threads in the MCU, this one bugs me the most. The film's strongest element is its action. Hulk fights some Black Ops dudes in darkness where he's hidden like the monster in a horror movie. We get to see Bruce Banner capably defend himself, and then Hulk fights all kinds of military personnel and vehicles, including a Captain America-style super soldier and some sci-fi weapons. Side note, Batman v Superman totally copied this scene, right?
Lex wants us.
Weird. And finally, he faces off against Abomination in a violent, brutal, long punch-out in Harlem. This is an excellent action scene as the filmmakers fully utilize all the powers at their disposal. Hulk uses his fingers to dig handholds into brick walls and climb like Spider-Man. He jumps across rooftops, he smashes a car in half and uses the halves as brass knuckles. He claps so hard it extinguishes a fire. He fights Abomination while hanging onto the outside of a moving helicopter. He ground pounds, and best of all, he rips out Abomination's bone and stabs him with it. Holy crap, that is some good PG-13 violence. Of all the amazing action scenes in the MCU, the fight between Hulk and Abomination must be one of the most unfairly overlooked. The film is held back by one major issue though, its story. It's just not very consequential. Bruce starts off already on the run and alone, and that's just how he ends the movie. It might as well not have happened. Why should I care about the movie as anything more than a delivery system for a few good action scenes and some funny jabs at famous Hulk iconography? It's not like it's a day-in-the-life movie like Dread either. This is supposed to be a big deal to Banner. Even though there's a lot to enjoy when watching The Incredible Hulk, the overall experience doesn't leave much of an impression. The ending is a legitimately great Banner Hulk moment, however. It's funny how before the movies came out, Marvel Studios expected this to be the big hit and Iron Man to be the risky project, since Iron Man was a less popular character before. In conclusion, I think The Incredible Hulk is overlooked for a reason. If you only want to watch the important movies before seeing Endgame, you can skip this one, but if you're a sucker for some good superhero action, it's worth a look, because you definitely get to see Hulk smash.
Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
This movie's bonus scene features the first crossover of the MCU. Tony Stark approaches General Ross in a bar and implies he's putting together a team. This is one of several pieces of evidence that the filmmakers weren't exactly sure of the direction the overarching story was going in, at least not in these early days. If you've seen the Avengers or even Iron Man 2, you already know why it makes no sense for Tony to be recruiting. They did make a one-shot explaining this plot hole away later, which is nice.
What if I told you we were putting a team together? Who's we?
Put your hand down.
You think you got what it takes to wear that suit?
We don't have to do this, Tony.
You want to be the War Machine? Take your shot.
Put it down. You gonna take a shot? Put it down!
No!